I don't. All right. I don't know if anybody could hear that, but that is our intro for this week's show. Well, it is our. If you listen to our podcast on your favorite platform, you would hear that intro. It is a part of the beginning of the show. So that is our new intro. I was trying to work it into the audio this week. I don't know if you could hear that at all. I'm gonna have to replay the stream, and I apologize if that did not work at all. But I'm trying to work in some audio this week, so it should work out pretty good. But I'm not 100% sure that it is going to work as I expect it to. But everything I sounds like it should be. So I'm just gonna play some for this week's audio during the show. We actually have audio from Test Track, so we're gonna be playing the Test Track soundtrack today for the new Test Track 3.0, which is awesome. So welcome everybody to this week's episode of Mouse Minds. Here we are live streaming for you on all your favorite streaming platforms: YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. Uh, oh my gosh, Mouse Minds page on Facebook, our our Facebook pages, and TikTok is. I think it's working, but I'm not 100% sure. Now I have to work on that because there's a whole approval process with that, and that's a whole thing that I am working on. So let me welcome my co-host here, Michael and Luella this week. How are you doing, guys?
Good evening. It's Tuesday.
Hello.
So on today's episode, we are going to cover one of my favorite things at the parks, which is hidden history. Now, what do you mean when you say hidden history? Well, I should have had. I know the guy who wrote the book on hidden history, Kevin Yee. We have to get him on in a future episode to talk about hidden history in the parks because he is the end all be all when it comes to hidden history inside the parks. But that being said, we are here to talk about things that you might not have noticed in the parks that are throwbacks to older attractions or just things that you may not have noticed. Like, did you know that the windows on Main Street have names on them, and those are actually windows that are assigned to people that have worked for the company for a long time or made a meaningful impact with the company. So, we are going to talk about that here and kind of go. We have the West Coast and the East Coast today to kind of go about here. So we will go ahead and do that. So I'm going to kick this off to you guys here. What are some of your favorite hidden history things inside the parks that you look at and are just like, that is awesome? Who wants to go first?
I'm curious to hear about California, actually, because I don't know enough about that area.
That's true. I don't know enough.
Well, what's great about Disneyland is that is Walt's original park, and it's the granddaddy of them all, right? It's born in 1955. So there's so much hidden history. And, even though I've gone there so often, there's always something new I learn. But, you mentioned the tribute windows, which is beautiful.
Yes.
And it's unique to each park. So what you see
Mhm.
on, well, Magic Kingdom's Main Street may be different than what you see at Disneyland. So I think whenever you get an opportunity to look up and read the names, it's a really great, almost history lesson and tribute, and even kind
Mhm.
of quirky. Their whatever their trade is that they're saying, like maybe like I'm looking here like Mark Davis, exotic arts. So it's such a unique way to pay tribute to people who have made an impact in the park. But one of my favorite things, and maybe some people might just pass by it, is the fire department at Disneyland. Right above it is actually Walt's apartment. And so I
Yes.
think that's a wonderful hidden, it's not so hidden anymore. And you can even take a tour to take you there. It's not all
Hmm.
year round, but if you take that Walt history tour or any of the tours that gives you an opportunity to step foot in Walt's apartment, that is a wonderful pinch me moment. And they do keep a light on at, all the time.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a little bit different than at Magic Kingdom. So that's
And
another favorite.
explain the significance of the light, because that is always one thing that has always kind of touched me that they do at Disneyland.
I think it's just like I forgot what his story is. Um, it shines right now as a tribute to Walt Disney, but I think before it shined if to let you know that Walt was in the park. So, but
Yeah,
now it's always on.
And now if the
like his
light is on,
spirit
it
is
means
always in
Walt.
the park.
Yeah.
And if the light's on now, it just means Walt's head is in the apartment. So we have to see where they moved it to.
Oh my God.
But it's very fascinating because the apartment, for what it was in 1955, as it was very tiny. It was really meant for him to stay there when he was staying over the park. So it's not very large, but it did have some upgraded amenities. It had a shower, which probably wasn't a very big thing at the time in the 1950s, and there's his bar is there. I don't believe all of the furniture is authentic. I mean, it's authentic to the time, but I don't know if it's all that furniture um, of when he was there. Because,
Of course.
but I think they made it look as close to as when he was there. And if you can imagine just him sticking his head out of the window, can you imagine if you were walking at Disneyland and he was sticking his head out the window of his little apartment? So it was really neat. And then you can see the little fire engine. They have since sealed it, but there used to be a fire pole so that he would slide down. He could slide down from his apartment down to, um, Main Street. But I had heard that they had to seal it because people would try to go up there.
That does not surprise me at all.
So
That
I
people
think
would
that's
try to
one
go
of
up
the
there.
most fascinating hidden histories at Disneyland.
I don't know what would be more jarring, seeing Walt stick his head back then or seeing somebody stick Walt's head out the window now. I don't
Oh
know.
my gosh.
Prefer.
Ugh. You've got
But yeah, no,
all
that's awesome
the
because
jokes today, Michael.
but I mean, it's something like that is awesome because that's not a recreation of something. Like that is where the man spent time. It's where he worked. It's where he slept. It's like actually part, not a recreation of his classroom or something. Like that's the real deal. So pretty awesome.
That is very awesome, and one of the most touching tributes inside the parks, having that there with Walt being a part of that. So I always appreciate that when I see that at Disneyland. So that is a welcome sign to see there. Is there anything else that particularly fond of at Disneyland?
Well, there's so many things. I mean, I can go on and on and on, but
Well,
I'm
we got
gonna
an
just say
hour, so
like
let's go.
key things. But I think if you are not familiar with the history of how the concept of Disneyland came into fruition, you know
Hmm.
that there was a story where he was at Griffith Park
Yes.
observing the carousel sitting on a bench. So,
Sunday was Daughter's Day.
yeah, and so one of the benches, and so we don't actually know what is the actual bench because there were benches surrounding, but one of the benches, you can't sit on it, because but one of the benches is there across the way from the firehouse at the where Lincoln Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln is when you enter, and they did have the bench. It's behind a little, it's kind of gated, so you can see it, but it's adorable. It's one of the benches to just continue with the story of Walt Disney and how Disneyland came into fruition. And if you get the opportunity, and I think it's going to be open, I mean, I would highly recommend going to Griffith Park. It was closed for a bit. I'm not sure. I don't want to like direct people there. But I think the city of Los Angeles purchased it. So yeah, right now it's closed until further notice. Unfortunately, the owner of this is a couple years ago, he passed away. And so the merry-go-round is closed. But I think the city has purchased it because they do believe it's a landmark. But prior, you can see the benches and sit there, and there's a whole history on Walt Disney at that beautiful carousel that is still there.
Yeah, that is a bit of history that people sometimes don't even think about. And it sparks a whole new genre of entertainment, which is crazy to think about. So that is, I've seen that's where they do like the event out there, and like it's like once a month, right?
Which one?
Or is it just I'm thinking of something else, I think.
You might be thinking of his barn.
That's what I'm thinking of, the barn.
Yeah, you're
You
thinking
are
of his
correct.
barn. But which is very close to it. It's all in Griffith Park is a huge park. So the barn and all the trains is in that same area, but the actual carousel, which is the actual carousel that his daughters rode, is in a certain section of Griffith Park. And right now it's closed, but hopefully it'll be open soon. It was an old carousel and beautiful, beautiful.
Well, that is
yeah.
awesome. And one of the things that I love the most at the parks is when they throw in throwbacks to original attractions or attractions that were already there. And I've got some throwbacks here and some sort of Easter eggs inside Test Track, seeing as Test Track is the music that is playing in the background. Whether or not you can hear it or not, that's a whole different thing. But that music is playing in the background. I've heard reports that you cannot, so I have no idea. But there's some really cool things inside the attraction itself. So inside the attraction, when you're going through and seeing the House of the Future scene, which is like right after you go down this like speed test there, and it shows you like that second scene where you go into like the garage. On the garage itself, the address for the garage is 10182, which is obviously the year and the day that Epcot opened. So that is a nice throwback there. And
Ooh,
there
cool.
is
That's
neat, right? And then right outside that garage door, there's a doormat that sports the iconic World of Motion logo. So you can see where it all started on a logo. The logo for it, or the pavilion logo, right outside the garage there. And then those two I had not seen. Now this one interests me the most because this is something that I always remember. Now, for those of us who are reaching that age where you take more ibuprofen every year because of the aches and pains, like myself, you will remember in the original World of Motion attraction that there was a giant sea serpent inside the attraction. It was one of the cool things that was in there, and they kind of made a big deal out of it. It was a huge like animatronic, and there is a 3D printed model of the sea serpent scene. It's in the home customization area, and I did not know this was a thing. I have not seen this, but I will definitely look for that in the ride. And of course, if you ride the ride at all, you've definitely ridden the ride at all, you've definitely heard this. One of the things that is in there, as you exit the home area, the House of the Future area, and head into the little like road where it's all bendy, there is a thing in there where, or a moment in there where the girl says, "It's always fun to be free." Well, if you remember the original audio for the World of Motion Attraction, the song was called Fun to Be Free. So that is a throwback to that original audio as well. And there's more things in there. There's also a nod to Progress City, which was a big part of the World of Motion Attraction at the end. It was like the final scene. There's all kinds of different things in there, but I am surprised at how jam-packed the new test track is with hidden history things inside there as well. So that is actually really cool to me to see that those things are in those attractions. Um, there also is, if you go one attraction over to Mission Space and you walk into the queue and you look at the giant spinning space station on the right hand side there as you are going through the entrance there, you will see in the middle it spins and then there's like a giant circle, and in the middle of that circle is a logo, and that is the logo for Horizons, which was the attraction that was there before um the before it was Mission Space, which was there for a long time, and a lot of people really loved Horizons, and it was probably one of my all-time greatest attractions at a Walt Disney park was Horizons. So that is really cool that they threw that into that attraction as well. Michael, do you have anything that you want to add to this discussion here about hidden history inside the parks?
Sure. So if I could touch on the two of you, what not touch on the two of you, but what you both mentioned. First, back to Llewellyn's point. Yeah, first back to Llewellyn's point about the windows on Main Street, both in Disneyland and Walt Disney World. I don't sound like an old man, but today we get back then, before the internet or before we could do these things on our phones, unless you had a book with you, you
Yeah.
wouldn't know what's going, and you wouldn't be able to find out. You'd either have to stop
Yeah.
somebody, but there's tons of names up there.
Mm-hmm.
I know everybody's running somewhere, but you've been here 3-4 days. Stop your running. Where are you running to? You already rode everything. You're racing
Yep.
to Dumbo. You rode Dumbo already.
Yep.
Slow down. Now it's okay. Don't do it on your
Yep.
first day, but I mean, crap, man, you in 3 days, you've been doing the same thing. Today, slow down, look at the
Slow down.
windows, and use your
Yes.
phone and look these people
Yes.
up. Hey, I don't know that
Yes.
name, or I think I know that
Yes.
person. You can look it up in real time, and now you're gaining a nice appreciation
And
for these
and there
people that
is
are up there.
and there is a window up there that both you and I think Luella too. I'm almost positive Luella, and forgive me if I'm wrong, that you were talking about before the show that that we have met in person. And who is that, Michael?
That we met in person. I mean, I've met a
Yes.
few of them. I've met
The one
Marty
you were just talking about before
Sklar.
the show. There you go.
Oh,
You
Marty
just said
Sklar.
it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. He just popped him up on my my memories. I met him about 12 years ago. I was able to have him
Yep.
sign his book.
That was about the same time I met him, I think, too. It was about 12 years ago. That's
On his book
crazy.
tour. And in his book, he mentions these red ink note cards that he used to give to each of the Imagineers that he was working with. And as a badge of honor, they would pin it up to their corkboard. And when he mailed his book back, he sent me one of those red ink note cards in his hand. So I've got that,
Oh, that's
as
cool.
part of my collection, which is really neat, and it didn't mean anything when I got it. And then as I'm reading the book, I go back, I'm like, I think that's what he sent me. It's on red Imagineering note card with his name on it.
Wow.
And it's got a picture of Mickey on it, and he writes his little note, and that's what all the guys have pinned up to their corkboard. And I've got one too. So so to her point, you can look these people up and you can learn all about them in real time. To your point, if I could take us to the other side of Epcot, the same way they have the address in the new test track, think about living with the land. B.
Yes.
Jones lives at RFD 82, which
82.
again
Yep.
is the year Epcot opened. So that 82
Yep.
gets thrown around same way they throw 71 around in the Magic Kingdom. And I'm sure there's some 55s out in Disneyland as well.
Yeah, I would say whenever you see a number,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, it's
they don't
something.
just put numbers there. They all have a hidden meaning. You know, those Imagineers were
I
Imagineers were having fun
I
putting
will
those
say,
numbers up.
while we're talking about, and you can look this up online, while we're talking about um hidden history, and I guess we can kind of lump in hidden Mickeys in here too. Um, Probably what I think is one of the coolest hidden Mickeys that there ever was. It's not there anymore, but it was there. Inside the I believe it was the first, it was either the first or second version of Test Track. There was actually a on the wall as you're going through. Yeah, I think it was the second version. As you're going through the where the House of the Future is now, on the wall there was a link on the wall, like an actual like website link on the wall. If you went to that link and it was a bunch of gibberish, if you went to that link, it pulled up a Mickey. That was literally a hidden Mickey. So that was like still to this day one of the coolest ones. And actually, uh, of course, my friend Kevin was the one who pointed that out and found that, and we were like, "Oh my god, this is crazy!" So that is another one that was just a really, I wouldn't necessarily call it a nod to the past, but that's something cool that you obviously cannot see anymore inside the parks.
And I keep hearing about it, but I've never actually seen it myself. The Journey or the Little Mermaid ride, that terrible,
Mhm.
slow, boring ride in Magic Kingdom.
Oh,
Um,
come on, it's a good ride.
it's awful.
It's one of my favorites.
I remember one night I was walking through the park after hours, and there was no line. I mean, nobody rides that after, once the kids are back in the. So I went over to the cast
Oh,
member. I
I
said,
think I know where you're going with this too, by the way.
yeah. So I said, Is this as terrible as I remember?" She goes, No, it's great. And I went on it, and I
Oh my
purposely made
gosh,
the walk back
Michael.
over to find her. It said, "This was as terrible as," and we all had a good laugh about it. But yeah, when the sun passes at the right angle, there's another hidden
Yes,
Mickey
it
that you
makes
can
a hidden.
only see certain times. I need to check
You
it
can
out for
only
myself.
see it. You can only see it once a year,
Yep.
and it happens for like a couple of hours, and that's it. And people like it's in the queue
Hmm.
as you. I've never. I've had friends who have seen it and have gone to the parks and actually seen it, but I have not seen it myself. I need to make that a priority this year because that I think that happens in springtime. But the light shines through the rock,
Yep.
and then the way it shines through it makes a hidden Mickey. So yes, that is. I have seen pictures of that. Let me see if I can throw one of those pictures up there. You guys continue on, and I'm gonna try to find that
I was
picture.
going to say the
Well,
fact that
yeah.
that even exists is incredible. That somebody came up with that, designed it, and it works. So, and they had to wait until that day. But I'm sorry, Laura, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I think that's fascinating. Is it in the line or outside or
Yeah. So here I'm gonna show
Yeah,
you. I'm gonna show you right now
it's
because I
part
just
of
found it.
the
So let me
um,
see.
outdoor queue. It wouldn't be able
outdoor
to work.
queue?
Yeah. So
Okay.
Yeah.
you're going to the outdoor queue, and then you just the way the light lines up. Here, hold on. Let me just throw this up so you guys can see it here. Give me one quick second. Oh, of course, I can't throw anything up now. I have too many things here.
Throw something up,
All
Robert.
right, let's see here.
We pay you to
I'm
throw
working
things
on it.
up. Okay.
I know. It really is true. You do pay me to throw things up. And where did the image go that I just had?
Wonderful.
All right. Well, you guys
Anyway,
Okay.
talk for like
sure.
2 seconds, and I'll
Well,
throw this up. I've
since,
got it right here. I just have to figure it out.
yeah. So, since you're talking about Little Mermaid, and I know this is
Uh huh.
only at DCA, because I haven't seen it at Magic Kingdom, but
Sure.
we have a real nice little homage to the Incredible Mr. Limpet,
Hmm.
that fish character of Don Knott. He's actually in the ride, and you have to really know where to look. It's hidden. You have to. You're going backwards. You have to actually put your head out of the car and see it. But it's him. It's adorable. If you've seen that movie, it's the fish with the glasses and everything, and it really is a homage to that movie and to Mr. Knott. And I looked it at Magic Kingdom and he wasn't there. So I think he's only at DCA.
All right.
Yeah.
So your bets have finally paid off. I am going to throw it onto the screen. So here you go. There it is. That is the hidden Mickey. It literally, the light shines through the rock work. There's like a hole in the rock work. The light shines through. It only happens once a year, and it's an annual thing. I'm trying to let me see if I can find out when it actually happens. But yes, that is a thing. Oh, if you head to the Under the Sea Journey of the Little Mermaid queue, actually it's happening soon. So I'm going to have to make this happen. November 18th each year at noon is when it happens. So November 18th at noon. So if you are going to be in the parks November 18th, which apparently I'm going to be in the parks November 18th, then yes, you can see that there, which is really cool. So definitely check that out if you are there. But that is what it looks like for those of you watching live. For those of you not watching live, it's a hidden Mickey shown onto the rock work. And I'll show you one more cool hidden Mickey since we're talking about hidden Mickeys here.
I hope you're
And
going
this
where
one-
I need you to go.
Well, did you hear about my Mr. Limpet though?
Yeah, and I want to see something while he's looking that up. That is not something they put in there for the general public because nobody knows who that is. But the folks who do know are going to look for it, and it's a darn cool thing that somebody even bothered to do that, because it's not like little kids are going, "Hey, isn't that the fish from the movie I've never heard of?" But for the adults that know, it's cool. You know, you're not doing this for everybody. You're doing it for the fans that care to look for it and the fans that know. Those are some of my favorite things, when you take something so obscure and you put it in there intentionally for the people that care. So
And
that one
it's
is awesome.
Yeah.
It's not even a Disney movie.
Yeah,
So
it's
Imagineers who probably really
fans
love this
of.
character, fans of, and he.
I mean, Don Knotts
home there.
was in a ton of Disney films.
Yes,
whether it's
he
Apple
was in a
Dumpling
ton of
Gang,
Disney
Oh
films.
yeah.
he's in a lot of them. So
Apple Dumpling Gang is one of the greatest movies.
just
Disney movies.
to take those Don Knotts
Quality
tributes, you know, I mean, you didn't do it for Tim Conway, but Don Knotts got his tribute, so that's really cool. So thanks for sharing that one. Robert, are you pulling up the Steamboat Willie?
I got it right here. So
is that what it is?
If you ever find yourself inside Animal Kingdom,
Oh, that's not the one. Go ahead.
that's not the one.
No.
If you ever find yourself inside Animal Kingdom and you are walking around Harambe Market, this one is in plain sight. You can actually see the Mickey, but there is a little detective work that has to be done here. So if you look at this image here, this is on one of the walls inside the or outside of the Harambe Market, and it says Fichwa Fellow. Of course, this is in Swahili, which means hidden fellow. So that is a hidden. Fichwa means hidden. So hidden fellow. You can catch that right as you are walking past Harambe Market. There are so many people that walk past there and do not look at that and even have an idea of what that is. And that is one that I actually spotted when they opened Harambe Market, because anytime Disney opens anything, I am like all over it with a fine-tooth comb. Me and my friends are all over it with the fine-tooth comb, trying to find anything that we can that is a throwback or hidden or anything of that nature. And that just happened to be one that I thought was very interesting, because it plays into the area that you're in, because you are in Africa. And then to have that there is really, really awesome. So I enjoyed that one very, very, very much.
Yeah, and I pass that poster all the time, and it always makes me smile when I see it, because
Yeah.
I take that. I like that path. Usually, I'll take
I
it
like that path
from
too.
behind Lion King towards Avatar, because nobody's there. It's quiet. You're right along the river. Build in extra steps. Really nice, and I love seeing that poster. The one I was thinking of that you really have to squint. The Steamboat
Which
Willie
one is this one?
in the Journey of the Little Mermaid, in the rock work.
Yes.
And you got to
Yes.
squint, and you really got to use your imagination, but it's there.
I have seen that once. I don't even remember where that is
Yeah,
located
I
in
found
there,
the
but
image.
yes,
If you
I
pull
have
it
seen
up,
that once.
you Google image it, and then again, you got to really squint. But it's there, kind of.
Let me throw up this one too here, just so you guys can see here. This is the one I was talking about earlier inside Test Track. You'll see this one here. I love this one because this is such a nod to the original attraction. If you're not here, I'll throw this image up too, so you guys can see this too. Let me see here. Hold on one sec. So this right here, I'm gonna throw this one up first so you guys can see it. This is from the original attraction. The original oh my gosh. No, that is not for the original track. Well, in the original, here's what I wanted. Okay. Um, in the original attraction of World of Motion, there was a giant sea serpent. It was one of the huge animatronics in the ride. As you can see here, as soon as this processes, let me pull it up here so you can see it. And for those of you, and please, guys that are listening on our podcast, please watch this live so you can see all this stuff. You can find it on YouTube. You can watch it later too. But
And
but
while
there
you're
is the
on
sea serpent
YouTube,
right there.
let us know which one's your favorites. What are we missing so far? We still got a discussion
Yes.
ahead of us, but we want to know what we're missing.
So you can see the sea serpent here. This was a huge animatronic from the old ride. I mean, this thing was huge. Maybe because I was a kid, I thought it was huge. Maybe it really was really huge, but it looked huge to me. And then now you have this here, which is a 3D model of that, which you can see there as well. So a nice 3D model of that scene, that whole scene inside the new Test Track attraction, which is so cool. Like I can't even imagine like the people at Imagineering just thinking of that, like throwing that in there, like taking the moment to take that image, model it out in CAD or whatever else, and then printing that on a 3D printer, and the time it takes to print that, and how many times they had to print that to get it correct, and everything else. Because I know I own a 3D printer, so I understand exactly how that works. And it is not fun and the slightest. So to be able to do that, unless you've got your printer really dialed in, but to be able to do that, that is no, it's not, it's easy, but it's not easy. But that is cool that they threw that in there. That is a very nice detail, and I honestly did not. I've seen that, but I did not think of that when I saw that. So that is awesome.
And I know it's not supposed to be the same thing, but to me, the serpent in Disney Springs somehow always reminds the dragon that
Mhm.
Lego always reminds me of that old scene from World of Motion with the tongue hanging
Yes,
out and
that's true. I
the
never thought
green.
about that.
Yeah, not exact, but close enough.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah. So that is another one there that is at inside Test Track. Now, what else do you guys like, or what else other Easter eggs are you guys favorites inside the parks that you like?
Yes. So, and oh, go ahead. Well, if you have one.
Oh, I was gonna say, if you come to Disneyland and you go on the Winnie the Pooh ride, the Winnie the Pooh ride is located where the original Country Bear Jamboree used to be. And so it's the same entrance and everything, but of course we don't have a Country Bear Jamboree like you guys do. But that doesn't mean that
Mhm.
we don't pay homage. So if you ride on the Winnie the Pooh ride, there's a part where once you pass Pooh in the spinning pot, if you turn around, you'll actually see um, the original. I think the name I have it here: Buff, Melvin, and Max. They're still hanging there, and you'll see it very clearly. So that's part of the original Country Bear Jamboree, and you'll only know that because it's not listed, it's not, nobody knows it, but if you only know that by turning around and seeing it. And so it's as if they're still there, even kind of blessing the Winnie the Pooh ride, still making it their home. I think that's a really nice homage to Country Bear Jamboree, and a fun little Easter egg for that area.
And that's another thing that absolutely does not need to be in that ride. But the fact that they didn't
Yeah.
take it down and throw it away,
Yeah.
and that you
Mhm.
left it there as a nod to the attraction, again, for the guests
Yeah.
that care and the guests that want to
Yeah.
see it, that is damn cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
appreciate things like that.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
never visible. You have to go looking for those things
You
because
have to
there's no
look for
reason
it.
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
going through Pooh's house and seeing these stuffed heads up there.
Yeah. There's no
But if you
reason to
put
turn
Yeah.
around.
right, but the
You have
fact that
to
you
turn
Yeah.
know to
around.
and that you do,
Yeah.
and people are taking, oh my god, I got to get a picture of that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And one of the things that I used to talk about with one of my friends that who has worked in Imagineering, one of the things that Disney does well, when you go into a theme park, you have what they call the long shot, the medium shot, and the short shot. That is, what the long shot, of course, how you perceive things far away, the medium shot, a little bit closer, and then the short shot, those things that are really close. And I've always felt, and I think that, and I'm going to say Universal is definitely catching up in this, right? But Disney has always been extremely well at the short shot and getting those hidden little details and everything that they do. And they've been doing that forever. They are just really good at it. And we've always had these things, maybe not to the extent that we do now, because uh, people are looking for them now. They're asking for them now. Once people caught on to these things being in there, it started, of course, with the hidden Mickeys, and now it's evolved into everything else that it is. But Disney does a really good job at that, of that up close detail and throwing those little things in there that most people will probably not even realize are a thing, but they are a thing, and it's just amazing to see that.
Yeah, anytime, there's so many, and sometimes you don't even remember to look, or you get off the ride and you got to go
Mhm.
back to look. So, you know, it, I sometimes have to keep myself a little mental list to go back and check these things out, and I hope our listeners are too. Some of the stuff is
This is
obvious to
this
us.
is a this is a good one here. So if you um if you go inside Spaceship Earth, and you remember the scene inside Spaceship Earth where they're doing the telegram, and he's sending the telegram and he's doing the Morse code
Mhm.
on the I'm tapping the desk like you guys can hear me do Morse code, but you can't even hear it when I tap the mic. So because I'm that guy that knows a little bit of Morse code, which no one else knows. But I did not catch on to this one, and I'm gonna have to check this next time in there because I have an app that'll decode Morse code. But W there is the code that they spell out is WDEP, which is Walt Disney Educational Productions, a nod to Disney early TV and learning ventures. I did not know that. I'm going to have to check that next time I'm in the ride. That's actually pretty cool because I've seen that scene a million times and did not know that that was a thing. But I will report back on that one because that's actually kind of cool that it is, because I thought when they were doing the telegram, it was just nothing, or they were actually where what he's talking about them building the telegraph lines and that whole scene where he's talking about that. I thought that's what he was being telegraphed, but to know that it's something related to Disney, that's kind of cool, actually.
Well, since you're talking about Morse code, at the train station in New Orleans Square, you can hear
Mm-hmm.
you can hear a telegraph doing Morse code, and if
Oh,
you
that's
and
cool.
it's actually the whole um, opening speech of Walt Disney in Morse code, consistently playing. So, and
Really?
that's a tribute to Walt Disney and a tribute to also that history of Morse code. And it's yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, you can hear it really clearly.
You have just blown my
Yeah.
mind. That is the coolest. Well, I guess I need to go back to Disneyland and hang out in the train
Yeah.
station and record that. That is
The New
cool.
Orleans
I
station.
did
The New
not know
Orleans
that
station.
one. I've been to the New Orleans station many times, and I do not remember hearing a telegraph there,
Yeah.
but I am darn sure going to look that up. Maybe I can find a YouTube video and do it that way. As long as I can get the audio, then we can decode that thing. That's pretty cool though. I like that. That's pretty cool. Nice
Yeah.
little throwback there.
So yeah, I mean, I think
What
it
do you
goes to say like numbers and sounds, it's all thoughtfully designed.
Yep. Yeah, everything inside an attraction has some purpose. Whether that's a obvious purpose or something that you don't really see, but there is some purpose to that. So that is something you always got to be looking.
And listening.
So
And listening.
yeah, and listening apparently too. Yeah.
And then right
So
across, I mean, again, a lot of this stuff seems obvious to us, and I know people are going, "Hey, I've already heard that. I know that." Right across from what you were talking about, the telegraph, when you get over to the radio
mhm.
station, the WDI as the call
Yes,
letters of the radio.
that is. I see that every time.
It's interesting that they don't put the designated W or K in front of the radio station to keep it ambiguous. It could be on either coast.
Yeah.
But yeah, the WDI for Walt Disney Imagineering as the station's call letters, pretty cool.
Yep. That is a pretty good one. And then moving over to um another attraction that has some interesting I would say, I don't know if I'd necessarily call them hidden, but I still think a lot of people don't notice or don't look out for this would be living with the land. The lettuce, the way they grow the lettuce into a Mickey, the way they grow it into the Epcot logo,
Hmm.
the Mickey
Yep.
pumpkins. There's all the Mickey molds for the various squashes and pumpkins and everything else that they put in there. So those things are awesome to look for too. And those are definitely obvious, but I just feel like unless you're doing a behind the scenes tour or you're really looking, a lot of people just kind of just are fascinated by the garden. They just forget about it.
And they don't reference it on the ride. It's not that obvious that you go, oh, you have to know. I mean, you're looking anyway, but the fact that it's just there for those who want to see it, and if you don't, doesn't matter. It's not in your face. You don't have the recorded narrator. Hey,
Mhm.
if you turn around and look at the pumpkin, it's Mickey.
Yeah, you have to know
You have
to
to
look in there and see.
care to find it.
Yep. Now, one of the things that's one of the things that is cool too, and this is on one of the newer attractions inside the park in the Guardians attractions, um is in the queue in the Xandar and the Good Morning Xandar pre-show. uh they announce basically Star-Lord's Epcot wish list, and he wants to go on Horizons, Universe of Energy, which is the attraction that was there before it was Guardians, and of course the Kitchen Cabaret, which is iconic for the Veggie Fruit song. Which now that I've said that, I'm gonna have that stuck in my head all night, which is always a fun thing. But that is a cool little tribute in there back to sort of 80s Epcot, which is awesome as well. So if you've never seen any of those older attractions, especially the Kitchen Cabaret or Food Rocks, you should watch that on YouTube. Those are quality attractions.
And going back to 80s attractions, and I think it's been in most. I think, I don't know. I have to go back and listen to the old recordings of the previous versions of the TTA. Um,
Ah, yes.
right. So they mentioned if you had wings, and Tom
Yes.
Morrow from Journey to the
Hmm.
Moon, Flight to the Moon, or Mars, and one of those, or maybe probably both of them. Once they figured
And he
it out.
had the other attraction too. Mr. Tom Morrow was in the other attraction too. Um, I can't think of the name of it. The one from like the 90s. I can't think of the name of it now.
Alien Encounter.
It was there before Monsters Inc. And I can't think of it. I can't think of it.
To me, at like 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
on your notifications. But yeah, I mean, and again, reason and to make people like us smile, absolutely not. But that's why
the paging Mr. Morrow thing, that thing has become the timekeeper. That's what I'm thinking of. Timekeeper. That's what the attraction was. The paging Mr. Morrow thing had become so iconic for a minute there that they were making T-shirts with that on it. But I don't think anyone really understood the origins of paging Mr. Morrow, at least at the time they were selling the T-shirts, because it was, of course, from the timekeeper, and that was something that was back then too. So that was, yeah.
But it's something
that is a cool throwback.
It's something that just hearing it, even without the context, it still makes sense. Oh, tomorrow. Hey, that's funny because it sounds like tomorrow. You don't need the context of the previous Magic Kingdom attractions to appreciate it, but it's a different level that folks like us can go, hey, you know what? That's even cooler than just some little kid laughing because the guy said tomorrow. So between those, and again, I know it's obvious, but not everybody bothers to look over in Hollywood Studios, where you have the apartment, or is it a studio with the sign studio for rent or apartment for rent? It's supposed to designate where Walt had first started and then moved out. So now the apartment's available right across the street from where Eddie Valiant's window is upstairs with the Roger Rabbit silhouette going through the blinds. And then he shoots over to the billboard on the opposite side of the street. If you're not looking up, you don't notice it. If you don't know Roger Rabbit, you don't care. But again, for the people that do care, pretty neat to see. I look every time. Why? I don't know. I'll probably have about a dozen pictures of it on my phone. It looks no different than the last time I took a picture of it. But you got it. Because at some point, they're going to wind up taking it out. And then, of course, you have Peavy's right across the way from the Rocketeer with the helmet. Another movie that you probably walk right past unless you go Peavy's. Wait, where do I know that name? So, a few more hidden in plain sight things, or at least references that if you don't know, you're not catching it.
Now, let's go back to Luella here. Now, we've talked a lot about Disneyland, but let's talk about Disney's California Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any favorites inside California Adventure?
Well, I did talk about The Little Mermaid. That is in Disney.
That's true. Yes, you did mention that.
That is in our park. It's at Disney California Adventure. I think if you want to see a lot of Easter eggs, you should ride Guardians of the Galaxy before you enter the elevator. Mission Breakout. Before you enter the elevator, because he's the collector, right? So he has a lot of collections. There's a lot of old Disneyland items in there in the collections. They have the original Matterhorn Yeti there. They have a lot of other little things, and so you can really passes the time. They even have a little Figment somewhere. So because he's a collector, so that's a fun place to look up and look around and see what they have. They have all different things from old rides, and so that one's a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff there mixed in with things related to the movie, but I think it just kind of adds to the whole story of what they're trying to do. This guy's collecting stuff. So I think that's really a lot of fun there. DCA used to be a parking lot. It was Disneyland's parking lot. So it's amazing that that used to be where we used to park, and now it's a whole park. But I want to bring back something also at Disneyland.
Yeah.
If you ride our Autopia, when Disneyland opened, they had another version of the Autopia called Midget Autopia for little kids.
Yes.
And there is it's bronzed, but one of the original Midget Autopias is there as one of the decorations when you drive by. You probably just pass by it, wouldn't even know, but it's there. So that was like a homage to that original ride.
And that's the same attraction, if I'm not mistaken, that they put in Marceline too, right? Didn't they put a Midget Autopia in Marceline?
I think it's like there. I don't think it's actually running.
Yeah, I don't think it's running, but the track is still there.
The track is there. But there's one of the cars that is a part of the right there, or like when you see it on the track. So that's another homage.
Mhm.
There's a lot of, Disneyland's a little bit different. You can't necessarily keep building out. There's a city around it, so you kind of
Yeah.
have to remove some rides and put another one on top. But they always seem to put a little nod to what was there, a little bit of history, which I love. And it's not for everyone to know. Like, and it's for those that love it and then see it and then get a real big kick out of it when they
Gee,
see
when
it.
you said the track was still there, but it's not running, I think you meant Disneyland's Tomorrowland Transit Authority. But it's probably
Oh.
wait a second, hold on.
Oh.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's a rough cut. That's a rough cut, sir. That one hurts.
I don't get
But
it.
even
Sorry.
Mm.
I don't get it.
Just
it's still up
all
there,
you
right?
need to know all you need to know is rocket rods. Oof.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's still there. Oof.
Yeah.
The
We
track
have
is
a
still there,
very
right? They never really demolished it. Is it
we have a
No, we're
supporting
not getting that
something?
back.
no,
No,
that
it's
is
not
the
supporting
original
anything.
People Mover track.
Right, that's what
And
I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
when they put rocket rods,
right.
the track wasn't built to withstand that
Mhm.
constant
Yeah,
repeated thing.
Because
right.
And
it was from what I saw, because I saw a video about this, the Jim Shul video. Jim Shul used to be an Imagineering. Is an awesome YouTube channel if you haven't watched it. And he was actually the one that designed when they removed the astro orbiter from the top and
oh,
moved it to the side, and they put that like satellite dish thing up there
mhm,
on the top of the tower there. That was his like design. He came up with that. And he was talking about rocket rods because that was a part of that whole thing. There's a fascinating video of this on YouTube. I highly suggest you watch it because rocket rods is always an attraction that's fascinating me. But one of the big there was two big problems. Number one, there's a part where it goes inside a building and it has to like do a bunch of curves, and that was causing a lot of issues. And then the other issue was because rocket rods was basically it either came out at the same time or was a little before Test Track, and they were using the same ride vehicle or the same basically ride design as Test Track, but they were burning through tires like crazy
Hmm.
yeah,
on rocket rods. That was a huge thing with that one is the tires. They had to constantly change out tires, so they just scrapped it without really
yeah,
anything, which is crazy because they built a whole pathway to get to rocket rods that goes underground and all these other things, and it just watch the video on that. It's Jim Shul on YouTube. Watch the video on that.
yeah.
You will not be disappointed. That's a good video.
Nice.
So wait.
But what else do we have before we start to wrap this up here, guys? Anything else that you guys want to mention? Of course, we've mentioned the windows on Main Street. Those are always a big thing to look for. And I like Michael said, next time you're on Main Street, make sure you take a look and see those those things inside the park there. That is a huge thing to look for. But do you guys have anything else that you want to say before we wrap things up here?
I mean, again, not hidden, but it is a tribute to the old Disney. And back to the TTA, the fact that they have part of the
Mm-hmm.
original Epcot plan map built into that
Yes.
wall.
Progress City.
Right, and folks that don't know or care go through it. Oh, that's cute. They don't understand the significance of what that is or was. What
Mhm.
we almost had before Walt passed, and then they're like, "Well, we're not doing this." Only Walt knew how to make that happen, and we don't. So, but yeah, I mean, the part of the original map and understanding just how large that was. If you go back and watch that Epcot planning video, and he had that massive stick and this giant map, um, you know, that's the real map part of it anyway. Again, the fact that they didn't take that and throw it out with the three moose heads or the three stuffed heads from Winnie the Pooh and everything else that they could have trashed, but they left around for people. Whether you want to know what it is or not, or you can go look it up if you care, but it's there and it's there for the fans again. So it seems like we're always the fans are always the ones to benefit from these nods.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
They it's always the hardcore fans that get the most out of those nods, and there is a lot inside the parks, and it is a great way because Imagineers know that when our favorite attractions leave, that we we are definitely sad as fans because we love those attractions. We have I think a lot of us have emotional connections with a lot of attractions inside the parks. Um, I was talking to some people this week about that as well. And that's I get that too. I mean, I have emotional connections with certain attractions too. So, having those throwbacks kind of tie those back and bring those back to life for you. And for that brief second, you get to relive those memories of that attraction, especially for me, seeing that Horizons logo inside the Mission Space queue there and really knowing what was there before. And also that World of Motion queue or that World of Motion throwback and at the exit or well, that one scene there where you're twisting and turning inside Test Track is really awesome too to hear that the fun to be free. It's always fun to be free, which is nice. So
Curious to see what they
well,
do with all these new with dinosaur, because from what I'm hearing, they're going to leave the track intact because you don't necessarily need to change that track because it's essentially the same ride, I guess, as in Disneyland.
mhm,
So if they're going to keep that
yes.
track intact, there's got to be a couple of nods to dinosaur. It's not that you're going from a nature ride to something different. You're going from a nature ride to a nature ride. So let's see what Easter
Mhm.
eggs they hide in there for us.
Well, I'm sure there will be a ton when they get that finished, and that whole area is going to look awesome over there. Once they finish that up, right now, not looking so good, but it'll get there. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this week's show. Unless anybody else has anything else that they want to add before we go ahead and wrap this up here. And let me check while you guys are doing that. Let me see if there's anybody commenting anything on any of our socials here. Be sure to comment on our YouTube channel, Disney and Beyond. You can see us every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. And of course, you can catch us on Facebook, Mouse Minds on Facebook, and Twitch as well. And TikTok is apparently coming soon as well. So make sure you follow us on all those platforms and leave your comments so we can see that here because it helps us in our discussion. And we love seeing what you guys have to say about what we're doing. And we love getting comments, especially all the hate mail that I have just received. My inbox is flooded with hate mail over Michael's comments
Yes, I
about
hope
the
they're
Little
all
Mermaid
directed toward
attraction.
me.
So
Bring it
yeah,
on.
the fans are not happy with your comments about the Little Mermaid,
Nice.
and I have reassured them that I am pro mermaid. I am pro mermaid. So I think that's going to do it for this week's show. We certainly appreciate all of you joining us this week. As always, find us on your favorite podcasting platform, and then find us every Tuesday at 8:30 on your favorite streaming platform. And then that being said, I always say every week, if you can dream it, you can do it. So get out there and dream it this week and do it this week. And we will see you guys next week.